Hey there, everybody. Welcome to this episode of On the Sidelines. John Luck, Dominic Damiano, Brad McKinnon. And it's been a couple weeks since we've been on, and a couple of things have changed. You know, the Celtics were NBA champions. They still are. 18-time champions. A couple weeks ago, the Celtics weren't for sale. Now they are. If you missed it, obviously you've probably been sleeping under a rock, but the Boston Celtics are up for sale. This was really earth-shattering news that broke on July 1st. The fact that Grousbeck is starting the process and selling his shares of the 18-time NBA champions. And guys, I was outside eating lunch and I was having chicken nuggets, and I legitimately choked on my chicken nuggets when I saw that news break, because it went Derek White extension, Celtics are for sale.
Right. I mean, Jason Tatum, too, was involved in that, too.
Yeah, that came right after, which kind of added a little more confusion to everything, which we'll get to in a little bit. But just give me your original thoughts here on the fact that the Celtics are now up for sale.
Big surprise, especially after just winning, and you have a dynasty in store. I mean, we're going to talk about how we paid him and this person, and it was a surprise for me. I didn't see that coming at all with the team. I mean, I feel like everything is where it needs to be, ownership-wise, GM-wise, and coach-wise. So, big surprise, for sure.
Isn't there a tax thing that they have to pay too?
Luxury tax.
Luxury tax. Isn't that like in the equation that I know you're going to talk about that probably about 15 seconds before, as soon as I stop talking. And I thought about that. I'm like, there's more than this meets the eye. I mean, you guys know how businesses work. There's an I'm like, can this guy afford his share of the luxury tax? Is that why he's bowing out? Did one of his businesses go under? It's like all these things. I'm like, I think he came in when I saw him choking. I think I had to give him the Heimlich on that.
It was an ugly sight, trust me.
But all those things were going through my mind. I was thinking, okay, we got White, yes. Because how many times I mentioned on the show I want Derek White really bad. Right. He's like that perfect player, silent, perfect, deadly player, just like Holiday. And then all of a sudden we hear he's selling the team. I'm like, oh, there's something going on with your bank account, pal, that you're not telling us. But that's my thought.
So this is actually a family trust. Wick's father, who I believe is coming up on 90 years old, it sounds like he wants to get all of his finances in order. Okay. And the Celtics did release a statement on July 1st when the news originally broke, and every Celtics fan had a heart attack. And the statement reads, Boston Basketball Partners, LLC, the ownership group of the Boston Celtics, announced on July 1st its intention to sell all the shares of the team. The controlling family of the ownership group, after considerable thought and internal discussion, has decided to sell the team for estate and planning considerations. Now, the managing board of the ownership group expects to sell a majority interest in 2024 or early 2025, with a balance closing in 2028, and expects Grousbeck to remain governor of the team until the second closing in 2028. So what this means to me, again, I'm not anywhere close to a financial expert, but what this means to me is the next couple of seasons for the Celtics, everything's going to be relatively status quo. Yeah. You already paid Jaylen Brown a buttload of money. You paid Jason Tatum a buttload of money. Same with Jrue Holiday and Derek White. Those contracts are there. You can't void them. This seems like I said, kind of Mr. Grousbeck, Wick's father, getting everything in order. And you mentioned the luxury tax. That's something else that did play into it. Oddly enough, the partnership bought the team for $360 million, somewhere around there, back in 2002. I think in a couple years, the luxury tax alone for this team is going to be approaching $360 million.
My God. My God.
So there's a lot.
Better win it, boys.
Right. So there's a lot of discussion about who could own the Celtics in the future, and we'll get to some of the names in a little bit. But this is kind of a changing situation in the NBA. We know the Phoenix Suns, they were up for sale. I believe his name is Matt Ishbia, bought the Suns for $4.7 billion. Mark Cuban put his share of the Mavericks up for sale. That deal was worth $3.5 to $4 billion. Wow. We're coming up on a different time in the NBA. There's media rights deals that are coming in, so players are signing absolutely insane, egregious, ridiculous, as Stephen A would say, asinine, ass 10, ass 11 level contracts here. Yeah. Paul George signed a contract that's going to give him $50 million a year. We know Jaylen Brown's going to get somewhere around $60 million a year by the time his contract ends. The NBA right now is just a cash cow, and you can't blame Wick for wanting to go ahead and cash his chips in with his credit account really at the highest it's ever going to be.
No, that's a good point.
That's crazy. If you think about that, when are they going to actually bring in the reins and control this?
I think we could see a union or a work stoppage at some point when this CBA ends, because there's way too much money on the table.
Unbelievable. I can't even comprehend those numbers.
I mean, $60 million, that's almost what a whole hockey team makes in a year, for crying out loud.
Exactly. I mean, we're just sports fans here, and you think about, we talked about, John mentioned, I know you mentioned a little bit about, to elaborate about the greed of these athletes. And you know what? If I'm a betting man, you know that I would bet there's going to be a work stoppage. Think about that. Joe Smuckatelli's going to want something like, let's say, I'll use Jason Tatum as a guideline, right? Which Smuckatelli probably ain't worth that much, but his deal's going to come up. He's going to want to get paid, and then they're going to like, oh, you're not paying Smuckatelli? Guess what? We're done. You're not going to help us out with this. You're not going to help out when that other union contract comes up. It's terrible. They got to start controlling it better.
The NBA just runs into this issue of this apron system, and the Celtics are in the second apron. And again, not a financial expert, but basically what a second apron team is a team that can't trade to get assets. So you can't trade your draft picks; those are frozen. You basically have to do a one-for-one player swap, and the salaries have to match basically to the dime. And you're basically in salary cap jail. Now, looking back, obviously the Celtics won the NBA championship in a landslide, so I think looking back, this is probably all going to be a good thing here. But the NBA has a big money issue, and I was looking online doing some research for the show. Forbes did an evaluation of NBA teams back in 2023. The Golden State Warriors were bought in 2010 for $450 million. In October of 2023, they were valued for $7.7 billion. The New York Knicks were bought for $300 million in '97. They're now valued at $6.6. The Lakers are valued at $6.4 billion. Whoever buys the Celtics is going to have one hell of a credit account.
Oh my God, yeah.
Jeff Bezos.
Yeah, right.
He took out $5 billion of his own stocks in his own company when that news broke. So.
Right. It's unbelievable, though, when you think about that. When are you going to control it? I mean, if we're playing, of course I want $413 million in 5 years.
Well, Jason Tatum's going to be the first NBA player to make $70 million at the end of the contract for one season. BetOnline did come out with odds on the next majority owner of the Celtics. Again, Steve Pagliuca is going to remain as an owner for the Celtics. His name is there. He is at 3-1 odds to buy the majority share of the Celtics. Larry Ellison is a favorite at 2-1. He's the Chief Technology Officer of Oracle. Forbes has his worth set at $177.4 billion. You go down the list, Abigail Johnson is valued at $30.7 billion. It feels really weird to say that. Jeremy Jacobs is an interesting name, and I think that'll be where we go next. Jacobs is 5-1 odds to be the majority owner of the Celtics, and the Fenway Sports Group is 6-1 odds. So we're looking at the full screen here. You mentioned Jeff Bezos. Who do you think / who do you want maybe to buy the majority share of the Celtics? Obviously, a lot of names here, a lot of money on the table.
I mean, it would be cool to see the Jacobs family take over just a garden in general.
You think so?
They have a lot in the Bruins, as we know. So.
I'm going back. I know we do our stats at 2000, but I'm going back to the 80s and the 70s. And I've had too many horror stories. I lost Adam Oates. He just didn't want to sign. Back then, of course, I'm referring to hockey real fast. When the Penguins they had Lemieux and Yager and all those guys, and we were trying to compete. And as soon as they got to that certain threshold, Jacobs said, "See you later, bye."
I think there could be a sneaky name like Steve Wynn, owner of the Wynn Resort Casinos.
Ooh, that would be.
We heard Mark Cuban sold his share of the team. He's still the basketball operation manager of the team, but he sold his share to a hotel and casino conglomerate, if you will, 3 people altogether. And I think that if you're talking about someone like Steve Wynn, if you buy the Celtics, you can get your own arena in Everett, make your own sports complex. We already know the Revolution want to build a stadium there. I think the city council already okayed that.
They approved it, I believe, yeah.
But I think that's a sneaky name that maybe he could be interested in adding that to his portfolio, because you want an NBA All-Star Game in Boston? You have it at a resort casino? Have fun.
The bottom name on the list, or two?
Matt Damon and Ben Affleck, 22-1. Now, I mean,
maybe the Dunkin' Donuts commercials can pay for it.
Just get rid of the green jersey. Just have the Dunk Kings commercial.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
Quickly here, I looked at the top contracts for the Celtics in the next 4 seasons. 24-25, Brown, Tatum, Horford, Holiday, Porzingis, and Derek White. That lineup alone is going to be valued at just over $163 million. 25-26, Horford is going to be a free agent that offseason. So Brown, Tatum, Holiday, Porzingis, White, just under $200 million just for those 5 players. So the Celtics really have an interesting time coming up, because they did sign basically their entire championship roster again, but you're not going to be able to afford that after the season.
No, not at all.
That's a big price tag right there for the 25-26 year. That's crazy.
These owners got to get together and control this. I mean, this is outrageous. This is really bad, because it's going to turn into the 1980 baseball strike. No one's going to feel the seats, because you're going to feel shafted because you agreed.
It's so expensive. Right?
Yeah.
And quickly, the last topic here for the Celtics block. Team USA, we know the story that Jaylen Brown was basically overlooked by Team USA. Derek White, the injury replacement for Kawhi Leonard. Jaylen Brown was very unhappy with Nike, but he also had to do a little bit of damage control in trying to kind of calm everyone down with any potential beef with Derek White, because when the news originally came out, everyone thought Jaylen Brown was angry at Derek White. We thought this was going to be the start of the Celtics turmoil that we all thought was going to happen in the next couple of years. But it sounds like we're starting to maybe calm things a little bit.
This, in my opinion, was why he wasn't picked, was Nike 100%. Because Jaylen Brown was backing Kyrie for not getting picked too. And that's all it was. It was just Nike, in my opinion, pulling a little string saying, hey, he's not going. You want a sponsor on your jersey? That's my opinion.
Yeah, I think there's no animosity with this team. Some people want to make it like the WWE soap opera, and this one's hating that one.
Save that for the NFL.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. I don't think that's the case. I think they're all cool. For whatever reason, White was picked over Brown, like you said. We don't know. Yeah. But that's what you see as we're looking at it, what they give us. And we don't. Again, like I always like to say, we don't know what's going on behind closed doors. But I think that's the deal.
As we learned with Jalen Brunson, Tyrese Halliburton, WWE does like their NBA players, so
they do.
Maybe we'll get them swinging steel chairs when they go to TD Garden. We'll take a quick break here. When we come back, we'll talk about the free agency frenzy for the Boston Bruins, as they do have cap space to spend, and they spent it right away. Welcome back. We talked about the Boston Celtics. Time to talk about that other team trying to catch up to the Celtics winning championships. The Boston Bruins, unlike the Celtics, though, they do have money and cap space to spend, and they spent it right away. The first day of NHL free agency, the Bruins signing Elias, Lindholm, and Nikita Zadorov, combined to 13 years, basically, in contract money. But overall, Brad, you're our Bruins guy, so what do you make of the Bruins free agency dealings?
So, day one, 5 minutes in. The first 30 minutes is when anyone that's big, that goes, and they usually do get overpaid. Elias Lindholm, I didn't think was too much of an overpay. I like how he plays. I mean, Vancouver, he didn't do too well because he didn't have that many games, and he came to a new team from Calgary, but Elias Lindholm, no matter where we put him, we've seen all the projected lines and all that, but that doesn't mean much. If he's on the first line, he'll have Pasta and Zaka, superstar on the right, and if he's on the second, he'll have Marchand and Geeky, Lysell, whoever they're rumored to put over there, which is a superstar on the left. So I really do like that. We needed a center. We needed face-off presence. And he's not a Selke caliber type player like Bergeron was, but he's a defensive offensive player too, like Bergeron was. So it's good that we nailed him. I mean, you saw on the show, that's what I was looking for, was at least Elias Lindholm and a nice contract extension for Jeremy Swayman, but we'll talk about that in a little bit. Zadorov, it's a good pickup. It is. I do think we might have paid him a little bit extra, but not a lot. So I will say it was a good pickup. But he's got the size, and he's a big guy on the defensive line. I believe he's a left shooter too, which is what we were kind of in need for, where it was a bigger left guy. I mean, Lindholm. Lindholm. There's two Lindholms now. Look at that.
Elias.
I mean, he was probably our best lefter last year, so it's good to see another top caliber left shooter. And like I said, he brings body, he brings size, he's a tough dude, and it's good to see us actually spend money and do it pretty quick. I mean, I wanted Lindholm and Marchand 2 seconds into once it hit 12. You see all these names gone, and I just say, oh wow, everyone I want is gone besides Lindholm. And I'm literally making a meme to send to a friend of the stick guy, and it says Don Sweeney at top, and then it says the alarm clock. He's poking it, like, wake up. And as I'm hitting synchronize or whatever, create, I get a text message from a friend, Lindholm, Zadorov, Bruins. And I say, all right, I'll delete that. I probably still have it in here. I can pull it up on my phone, but that's for now. Don Sweeney did good. Did good drafting this year. I mean, trading Olmark and picking up the Dean kid, that was a really good pick. 6'7", 218 pounds,
Isn't that
18
nuts?
years old.
All I can think is Mario Lemieux when I saw him.
Last time we picked 25th, we got David Pastrnak.
Imagine
So
that.
hopefully we can keep that 25th pick
That would.
streak going.
That kid is a monster.
We haven't drafted well for a while. I mean, 2015 draft is now finally behind us. Drake DeBrusk going to Vancouver. I mean, Danton Heinen going with him. So did Derek Forbert. And then, Matt Grzelcyk. That's the other guy who's out too.
Yep, Grzelcyk going to Pittsburgh on a one-year deal. DeBrusk to Vancouver. Kind of a weird free agency trade type of thing.
Yeah.
Like half the Bruins went to Vancouver, and we
came
got
over here.
Lindholm, Zadorov. But John, what do you make of the Bruins offseason so far? Obviously, a lot of money spent combined, just about $84.5 million.
That's probably right in the middle of average. Like you said, as soon as those guys are available, they're going for them. I thought DeBrusk was going to be gone halfway through last year. All you heard was tripping about DeBrusk,
Trade deadline.
Exactly. And again, I'm really impressed with this first-round draft pick, how big this kid is. Again, for whatever reason, all I can think about is Mario Lemieux. Kid's huge. As far as Lindholm goes, the kid can basically play. You mentioned two lines. Kid can play anyway. He's such a versatile player. And that's what they need. They really do. And I wish they picked up one more centerman. I don't know why, because I keep on thinking about you lost the best centerman when he retired, when he lost Bergeron.
We do have Matt Poitras.
That's true,
Who's
that's
coming
true.
back. And
Charlie Coyle.
Yeah.
Pretty good.
Oh, yeah. No, he is. He's number 2 for sure, but Poitras, or however you say his last name, I always say it wrong. He'll be good on the 3rd, and then you have John Beecher on the 4th. So right now I do think Coyle could be a stronger second wing when it comes to scoring, but he does everything else right, in my opinion. He's decent on faceoffs, great on puck battles on the wall, and great on fighting with control. He controls
especially when
the
they
puck
cycle
great.
down low. He's one of those players that you don't expect it out of him, I think, sometimes. And I don't know why. I think he's up there. He's not an average player, and I don't think he gets enough credit for how hard he works in the corners.
Him in the corners, he's one of the toughest guys on the team, for sure.
I just get that strange feeling he's
His
not
grit.
as appreciated. Doesn't get that much respect as he should.
Well, they expect a lot when
Correct,
you're a top
true.
2 center. You do.
Looking at the stats for Lindholm, the one thing that stuck out to me was winning just about 59% of the faceoffs. And we were talking yesterday about the need for the Bruins to win the faceoffs. And that was kind of their Achilles heel for really the last couple seasons. Bergeron's last season, obviously this past season without Bergeron. it seems like now with Lindholm, they have someone that can at least hold his own in the face-off circles and try and create those extra possessions for the Bruins on the power plays.
I mean, he's going to be great on the power play, for sure. He's going to be He's going to be in the bumper, and he's going to wheel and deal, hopefully, like he did for Calgary Flames those years. 'Cause we talked yesterday, too, 1 year, it's right here, 42 goals, right? 42 goals, 40 assists. That's pretty good for a top winger.
And it's almost like a steal.
82 games played. You mentioned Jeremy Swayman. As of this taping on July 17th, the Bruins still haven't signed Jeremy Swayman. Are you concerned? Because it sounds like they have the money. They're just trying to tie up those loose ends. But at some point here, it starts to get a little awkward between player and team when you get into a contract situation like this.
I believe it will be done soon enough. Like you just said, they're tightening up loose ends. I mean, the money is there, and the salary cap's going to keep going up. You can make these contracts saying, hey, you get paid less here, you're going to get paid more heavy at the end, you know? And he obviously knows it's his net. He just had that playoff run that he had, and you got rid of a Vezina-winning goalie. So obviously he's got to think, oh, well, they want me here. It's just pay me. Hurry up and pay me too, because I don't want to see him disappear anywhere.
And it sounds like, from what I'm reading on the salary cap websites, the Bruins should have another $1 million to $2 million left over after it looks like will sign Jeremy Swayman. And to me, it feels a little weird when you have someone like Jeremy Swayman, such a talented goalie, kind of just hanging out there. Like, he wants to come back to Boston. Boston wants him to come back. They went to arbitration last off season, and I was listening to the draft on ESPN, and someone brought up a great point. When you go to arbitration in the NHL, you're having a player sit there and have the owner tell the player, well, you did great, but you did this wrong, you did this wrong, and you did this wrong. If you hold on too long, if you wait too much longer here to re-sign Jeremy Swayman, to me it feels like you can sign him to the money, but there's still going to be that lingering layer of awkwardness when you get to maybe year 2 or 3 in the deal. Maybe one side wants to split off from the other.
I think you leave that bad taste in that kid's mouth too. Exactly, arbitration. You're sitting there, well, I think you did this wrong. I think, yeah, but I got you deep into the playoffs this year. And and I only have so many years under my belt in the NHL. And you had nobody else. Your backup was a flop, and I did the best I can. And how can you sit in front of the arbitrator and tell him I'm a jerk, but yet you want to sign me?
I mean, just yesterday we signed Mark McLaughlin, $775,000 a year contract. So I do want to say the Swayman contract should be getting wrapped up pretty soon.
I'd like to see what the pecking
is on
that.
The numbers on the roster is getting to where we need to be, and there's still the money for Swayman obviously there. So just figure it out and get it done.
It could be something as stupid. The poor guy's on vacation with his family.
Up in Alaska, getting no cell reception.
Right? And he's like, well, when I get done with my family, well, it sounds good. And when I get done with my family, I busted my chops in the playoffs, and I'll sign.
He's one player I don't see ever playing anywhere else on the Bruins. I could see Pasta going somewhere before I could see Swayman, to be honest with you. Just because how good he was in college and how good he's been playing since. You know.
The one drawback I feel like with a goalie like Jeremy Swayman is all that time he was splitting time with the backup goaltenders. Yeah. He hasn't really had that season where he played 65 or 70 games, and maybe that's the one thing the Bruins could hold over Jeremy Swayman, try and lower that AAV value down a little bit, and maybe help themselves out in terms of salary cap worth later on in the deal.
I mean, I get that, but at the same time, too, what he just did in the playoffs kind of lingers with that, up and down with it.
I thought you got to sign him. I mean, all I could think, we were talking about Jeremy Jacobs early. All I could think is of all the stupid trades when Jacobs threw his face inside it to get involved to help out the general manager at the time to make these trades. The guy's a bona fide professional goaltender. He wants to stay, and you got to sign. You can't hold it. You can't hold any more over the poor guy's head. Sign it, make him happy. Let's move on. One less headache. I hope it's something petty. I really do, because otherwise, if it's any of us, we're like, okay, I didn't do what to make you happy. Mm-hmm. I could just imagine.
All right, so you can continue listening to us talk Celtics, Red Sox, Patriots, Bruins. You can hear all that each and every Friday morning on 1530 AM, WVBF 99.7 FM. And you can listen to us at...
Oh, is that my cue?
That's your cue, as we always go through.
50. You said 50.
I already said the channel. What time? There.
Oh, I'm sorry. 11 to noon.
There you go.
Yeah, don't be on the highway showing up at 10:50 to be there.
That was a long way, too.
He likes picking on me about that. He never lets it go.
Have the program director
We're going to have the
scream
whole
at you.
crowd back. We're going to have the whole crew back right on Friday? Nice.
I think so. I guess I'll show up.
No, you don't have to mean back.
If you're not near a radio, you can download the TuneIn app. Just search WVBF on the sidelines each and every Friday morning at 11 a.m. on WVBF 1530 AM and 99.7 FM. We have On the Sidelines Overtime coming up right after this. Welcome to On the Sidelines Overtime. John Luck, Brad McKinnon, Dominic Damiano. We talked Bruins and Celtics. We do want to... Everything good?
Yeah, don't worry about us, all right?
Okay. We do want to talk about the world of soccer, and there was quite the development down in South Beach, the Copa America final between Colombia and Argentina. If you haven't seen the photos, I definitely encourage you to look at them. We have some of the stills here, but tens of thousands of people were waiting outside the gates of Hard Rock Stadium in Miami to try and get in to watch that Copa America final match, and at some point, they breached the ticket line and got in, so thousands of people that didn't pay $2,000 to $3,000 for a ticket got into the stadium, and those that did pay $2,000 to $3,000 didn't. I believe it's CONMEBOL, the organization that actually hosts Copa America. They had a semifinal match in Charlotte at Bank of America Stadium, and during that match between Argentina and Uruguay, a member of I believe it's Argentina's team actually had to go into the crowd and fight off some of the opposing fans. As we get close to the FIFA World Cup here, this is becoming more and more of an issue because some of these stadiums are going to be hosting World Cup matches with the same type of crowds here and the same type of fan frenzy and excitement for these games. Is this something now that American stadiums have to really think about as they get ready for the FIFA World Cup coming up in 2026?
100%. I mean, look at what happened. You had people climbing through ductwork to get into the stadium, for crying out loud, from the outside. I mean, what are those called? The escalators. Those things busted to the side, people rushing in and all that. I mean, we were talking earlier today, what was it, people sitting on the...
Yeah, if you look at the full stadium, you know, that wide shot that they always have on NFL games, you're used to seeing, you know, some staircases,
sitting on the concourses,
hallways.
That's what it was called, yeah.
You couldn't see that. I'm guessing the capacity of Hard Rock Stadium has to be 70, 80,000. You probably got close to 100,000 people in that stadium for that final match.
90 without a question.
Oh my
without
God,
a question.
so crazy.
Oh, yeah.
Now that, you know what, believe it or not, I always try to keep upbeat. The good thing about it is that incident set the precedence on what type of security you need to move on in these tournaments. I mean, they love their soccer, God bless them, but that was absolutely out of their mind.
Isn't a FIFA game coming to Gillette?
Yeah, so I actually have the American sites here that are going to be hosting FIFA World Cup matches in 2026. Foxborough alone is going to be hosting 7 matches, including a round of 32 match and a quarterfinal match. Miami, where you saw that blank show happen, they're going to host 4 group stage matches, a round of 32 match, a quarterfinal, and a third place match.
Wow.
This is a stadium that's hosted a Super Bowl and didn't have really any issues. And here we are, we're seeing people break through the ticket line. We're seeing people climb through air ducts to get into the stadium. I understand being a fan of the sport, but I mean, this one really falls hard on the city of Miami and crowd control really being an issue, because if we get to 2026 and you haven't really changed your security force,
right,
we could see the same exact thing for this third place match. Foxborough, I feel like they really have it under control. They know how to control some larger crowds. New York is going to be the host of the FIFA World Cup final match, so I'm not really concerned about that. But some of these other stadiums, Kansas City, Houston, Philadelphia, San Francisco. These are the stadiums I kind of wonder what the security is going to look like for, a couple of these matches, because you could get, a country playing at your stadium that has a tremendous following, and you're going to have 50 or 60,000 people trying to sneak into the stadium.
You could. I mean, again, I think that just set the precedence. And I mean, they know what the security first was in Miami, what they had for security, or rent the cops, or whatever you want to call them. I'm just hoping, and I would think level heads would prevail, and you'd say, guess what? We have hypothetically 500 people. We need another 1,000 people to watch this mayhem.
I mean, New York's going to need riot police.
Yeah.
I'll tell you that, for that losing team.
I mean, MetLife Stadium can hold, a match like this, which I think is why FIFA wanted to go ahead and have the final match there. But, I mean, the global sports stage, really looking at America and seeing how it went down for a Copa America final, I mean, that just kind of looks ugly from, a sports fan standpoint.
It really is. It's a horror show. I mean, again, I know I mentioned the security force. You hope they use common sense to go to the next round. But, I mean, I feel bad for those soccer fans that really that are in this country, that love to see their home country, participate. I feel bad for the people that paid all that money to go to those games, and the other jerks knocked them off. If you were your family, you're not staying there. See you later, bye. It ain't worth it,
How about this? The president of the Columbia Football Organization got arrested in Miami by police. Damn. Because he was a part of all that stuff going on.
Really?
Trying to pack the stadium, probably, the guy.
I mean, the president of one of the countries that are actually in this match, go ahead and arrest him. That makes sense.
Jeepers crow, that's crazy.
So we go from an exciting matchup like that, and we'll talk about All-Star Week in Major League Baseball. Home Run Derby All-Star Game in the books. The viewership for the Home Run Derby hit 5.45 million people on ESPN and ESPN2. That sounds like a lot, but that's actually the lowest viewership for the Derby since 2014.
Wow.
I'd imagine the All-Star Game probably didn't have great viewership as well, but a lot of notable things happened in the Derby and the All-Star Game, so we'll talk about a little bit here and some of the moments that stuck out from All-Star Week in Major League Baseball. Was there anything that really stuck out to you as a focal point besides the national anthem and the Derby?
Well, I was really surprised that Ramirez was able to hit 20 dingers. I thought he was going to be, an average player, but he really stood out. Bobby Witt Jr. I really enjoyed watching him hit the ball, being just a shortstop, and then the other gentleman from Baltimore, he tried to do the same thing. He ended up short. But as far as Bobby Witt and Ramirez, those are two guys that I was not expecting to do that well.
As much
yeah,
as
exactly.
Oh, yeah. No,
especially Bobby Witt Jr. His father was an average baseball player, but he's definitely a legit all-star. And it was fun to see him compete and make it to the finals.
Anything stick out for you?
I mean,
so
what stuck out for me, we're going to be talking about soon, and that's our guy, all right?
And All-Star MVP, Jaron Duran.
Yeah, sure.
The thing that stuck out to me, for the Derby at least, is I feel like you need some type of college degree to follow along with the rules of the Home Run Derby.
Oh, it's crazy.
The first two rounds, you have 3 minutes or 40 pitches.
Yep.
The batters have a 45-second timeout. You'll have a bonus period untimed if your home run goes 425, and then you'll have 3 outs untimed. And if you hit a 425 home run dinger in that bonus round, then you get a fourth out.
Yep.
And when you get to the finals, it just goes back to the way it was. I hate sounding like one of these old-time sports fans, but I miss the way it was before.
Oh, yeah.
Just
I was getting
10
confused
outs,
myself.
and you call it a day. I'm sitting there going, okay, why are we not rushing along through the bonus period of the Home Run Derby? Oh, that's right, because he still has 2 outs. So as we go into next year, we're going to see a lot of these batters go ahead and just whiz through 40 pitches and say, okay, well, I got that bonus period. That's really when the Derby gets going. And if you're trying to bring in a younger crowd, having more rules isn't the way to do it.
Right.
I mean,
No,
not
at all.
We're all around 30 and above, But when you talk about your viewership for baseball, we're not exactly the demographic you're trying to attract. You're trying to attract the younger crowd, the college kids, the high school kids, into watching your games. If you're talking about 3 minutes or 40 pitches, bonus periods, 4th out, 3 out, 425 foot home run, that's not going to get younger people watching the game.
No, they're going to lose
Just make it more
interest.
complicated.
I understood what they were trying to do to challenge the hitters. I mean, we probably all did by seeing the stupid clock, and either roll the 40 pitches, just make it 40 pitches, and just have them hit. And that's it. Don't give a bonus round because you hit the ball 425 and you get an extra out in that second round. Instead of having 3 outs, now you have 4 outs. That's stupid. Just have them, because you got to keep it simple, stupid. Use that philosophy. We don't want to see dingers, but I mean, doing that, I don't get it.
I gave myself a panic attack watching the last 5 pitches, saying, "Throw it! You're running out of time." Oh, you had 3 pitches to go. Right. You mentioned Jarren Duran, the All-Star MVP, had the game or the go-ahead 2-run home run, and that thing was absolutely launched. I think a lot of people are putting some more wind in the sails of Jarren Duran being a legitimate baseball player for the Boston Red Sox.
Oh yeah, no, he's definitely showing up this year, and I mean, he's going to continue to show up this year, and we're going to go all the way to the World Series somehow. Because before the All-Star break, we had the same record as the 2004 Boston Red Sox before the All-Star break. Anything's possible.
That's true. That's right.
I'm the Fairweather Red Sox fan here. Don't forget it. Anything's possible.
Okay, well, he's living on cloud 9 apparently with the red smoke coming up here from the lights. Let me give you a little dose of reality. 2023, the Red Sox were 7 games over 500 through 95 games. Right now, they're 11 games over 500, getting ready to get out of the All-Star break. 22, they were a game over. 21, they were 19 games over 500. They made it to the ALCS, where they eventually lost, obviously. But 2019, they were 7 games above 500. 23 and 22, they were 78 and 84. We've seen this story before with Alex Cora. He likes to do these matchups, and he's great at it. He's a great manager when you're talking about pitching matchups and getting the most out of everybody. Although at some point, pitching matchups end up getting screwed up when you go to a guy for the 3rd time in 5 games, or back-to-back days, or Kenley Jansen comes out for a 2-inning save after being out for an inning before, just to try and drag things to a win. At some point, I feel like momentum is going to start slowing down for the Boston Red Sox. And I hate being the Red Sox hater here, but obviously with 23 and 22, we've seen it in the past. This team can have success, but this team continues to trip over itself down the stretch, and it comes down to the trade deadline. Realistically, I don't see ownership nor Craig Breslow doing a lot to get this team through the trade deadline, give them that extra push in the pennant chase playoffs, or the pennant chase.
You're not giving him a chance to hang himself first? You're just going to say that he's going to give up and that's it?
I feel like Craig Breslow wants to try.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, when you have ownership that's kind of going with this small team philosophy, you're not going to be able to trade a lot, and teams are going to want, I'd said it before, a Josh Winkowski, a Connor Wong, a Willie Abreu. Those are your players right now. They're getting you over the hump. You're obviously not trading Jarren Duran nor Rafael Devers.
Or Wong.
The players that you could trade, nobody really wants. So that's a big issue for me.
Yeah, it is. I mean, if they're going to trade it all, they got to go into the farm system, give up future prospects. That's Red Sox MO all the way, especially with, like you said, about how they are talented. I mean, he's absolutely right. I mean, we don't know how they're going to play out later in the season. But for them to make a push, they're going to have to give up some serious draft picks. You can't give up anybody on this roster because this team is gelling.
Right.
My thought is 3 weeks after the All-Star break tells you how your team's going to. If they're competing, they're going to make a run. They really are. But the only way you're going to do that is give up some prospects out of your farm system, because you should not touch these major league players that are making this work right now.
I've heard names like Marcelo Mayer in the minor league system. I believe Nick York is his name. The Red Sox like to hold on to these prospects in hopes that they turn into a Jarren Duran, a Tanner Houck, a Brian Bayo, these players that come up through the system, come up at the cheap, and end up being great stars. Unfortunately, you would have to cut ties with a couple of these guys to get a player that's going to make a difference. I have some names here that I'm going to talk about in a little bit for maybe trade deadline targets, but the one thing for me I think the Red Sox would need to really trade for isn't a pitcher. It's someone that can hit left-handed pitching, because the Red Sox right now, like I said, July 17th, are 14th in Major League Baseball against left-handed pitching with 246 batting average. They're 18th with 26 home runs against left-handed pitchers and have 106 RBI. You look at the Red Sox pitchers against right-handed pitching, 259 batting average, that's third in Major League Baseball, 86 home runs for the batters against right-handed pitching, and that's fifth in Major League Baseball, and 323 RBI. So to me, if you can get someone that can hit left-handed pitching, I think then we could start talking about this team really making some headway in the wild card chase, and maybe even making some noise in the AL East standings.
I agree. Again, you got to give up some farm prospects to grab that potent lefty hitter that hits lefties well. I would like to. You know, it's funny. I was watching a kid from Cohasset the other day who plays for the Yankees. I love this. He looks like a future player, but then again, he's not what you want. If you want to go deep into the wild card, you need somebody. I mean, there's so many different plays out there, but we don't know what these other teams are thinking. But in our case, we got to give up. We got to give up somebody in the farm.
If you're talking about pitching, I have three names here that I think the Red Sox could have a shot at. Again, they'd have to cut bait with a couple of prospects. The first one is Cal Quantrill from Colorado, 6-7 record, 4.13 ERA, 39 walks, 78 strikeouts, so a 2-to-1 strikeout to walk ratio. Tyler Anderson with the Angels, 8-8, a 2.97 ERA, 47 walks, 81 Ks. A name that I want to see the Red Sox really make a push for is Garrett Crochet for the White Sox.
Yeah.
6-6, 3.02 ERA, 23 walks, and 150 strikeouts. This guy is a walking strikeout machine, which is exactly what the Red Sox need, especially if you're talking about a bullpen that's getting taxed. If you can have someone like Crochet come to Fenway, that's saving your bullpen easily 2 or 3 innings, and you can maybe get him into the 7th and 8th inning, which could really make a difference when you get to September.
Oh, 100%.
So overall, where do we rank the Red Sox on a surprise scale from 1 to 10? 10 being you're absolutely floored by this team, and 1 being you thought this is exactly where we'd be on July 17th.
Probably like a 7 over here. I'm pretty amazed but as we said when we did the over and unders, we gave them a little bit of credit going into the season. We felt we were going to be a little bit over 500, and I mean, we're halfway through the season. It's not over yet. We could crash. We could. We're 4 games back in the AL standings and all that, but we could be 14 in 2 months.
Right, that's a smart, optimistic opinion by you.
That doesn't work on this show.
Me being as naive and still having a kid in me, I'm going to give them at least an 8 because I was not expecting this at all. I was expecting us to be 15 games out of 500, not learning how to base run after what we saw last year. How many games they laid low on, basic base running stuff you'd learn in Little League, stuff like that, putting the ball in play, hit and run, all, basic stuff. And these guys, to touch on like what he was talking about, what Brad was talking about, they're surprising us. They really are. I'm really optimistic about how this team's going to go deep. I really do. Again, my mindset is 3 weeks after the All-Star break. Once they set themselves, if they set themselves up to win, they're gonna compete.
So optimistic, positive, realistic. I'm going to give this a 5, and here's why. As I've said before, and I gave you the examples, this team's great in the first half of the regular season. They're beating the teams they should beat. They're beating the Miamis, they're beating the Torontos, they're beating these teams that they should beat in the standings, the Oakland A's included. Once you come out of the All-Star break, you're facing teams like the Dodgers, the Kansas City Royals, the Yankees, the Orioles. You're facing these teams that are in true pennant chase situations. And I feel like when rubber hits the road here, at some point, water's going to find the level, and the Red Sox are going to start to decline a little bit. Now, You mentioned the over-under that we did before the season. I had the Red Sox under 75 wins. I'm going to be wrong there. But overall, I don't think that this team is going to continue to maintain the level of success they've had unless they make a sizable move like a Quantrill, Anderson, a Crochet, something like that. If they get one of these guys, then I think we're talking about a wild card team.
Or a nice left hitter, like you said, too. That was a crazy stat. I had no idea about that. So it's definitely something that would add to the team as someone that can hit a left pitch.
We're all about positivity on this show, and we're all about games, and we have a game to play coming up in just a little bit. I really hope these guys watch the MLB All-Star Game. We'll find out why coming up after the break.
Oh, boy.
They'll test you. Try to break your will. But however loud the loudness gets, however many cheese puffs may fly, you're the driver, the one in control. Stand firm. Just wait. And move only when you hear the click that says they're buckled in for the drive. Never give up till they buckle up.
Back here on the show, and I told you guys before we went to break, I really hope you watched the All-Star Game. We had Know Your Socks earlier in the year with you, where I threw Angels League outfield at you.
Yeah, you did.
Today we're going to play Know Your All-Stars. So obviously the MLB All-Star Game has come and gone, and I'm going to give you guys some names here and multiple choice test here, so you may actually get something right in this game. But you'll tell me which team they play for.
Oh, geez, I'm going to do so bad, but it's
I
okay.
actually watched it, so I might have a leg up on
I
you.
watched some of it. I didn't watch the whole thing. I saw the ending, though, when our boy showed up, so.
Yeah.
Well, unfortunately, I don't have a Red Sox in here.
Well, it's probably smart to not give us a freebie, you know. Once you give
That
the
would just be
dog a
nice,
bone,
yeah.
you know, you can't start.
All right, Dom, so we'll start with you.
Yep.
Adley Rutschman. A, Miami. B, the New York Mets. C, Baltimore. It feels weird that you're looking at me like that. And D, Cleveland.
I'm going to say Miami.
Nope. He actually played for the Baltimore Orioles. He started for the AL behind the plate and went 0 for 2.
Okay.
All right, Brad. 0 for 1. Mason Miller. Who does he play for? A, Seattle. B, Oakland. C, Toronto. Or D, Tampa Bay.
B.
B is right. Mason Miller pitched an inning and struck out 2 batters for the AL in relief. And he's actually a rumored name for a lot of teams in the trade market at the trade deadline. So Mason Miller right now played for Oakland. A week from now, who knows?
Yeah, true.
Dom, let's go back to you. Salvador Perez. A, Kansas City. B, LA Angels. C, Houston. Or D, the LA Dodgers.
Who was the first one? A what?
A, Kansas City.
Kansas City.
That's right. 0 for 1 behind the plate for the AL, but Dom is not 0 for 2. We're tied at 1 apiece. All right, Brad. Emmanuel Clase. Does he play for A, the Yankees, B, the Cubs, C, Cleveland, or D, the Mariners?
I think if it was A, I would know that. I hope it's not A, because Can we look at your face a little bit?
I have a bad poker face.
Will you say him again? Besides the Yankees.
Emmanuel Clase, A, Yankees, B, Cubs, C, Cleveland, D, Mariners.
I'm going to guess C.
C, Cleveland, you're right. He actually earned the save in the All-Star Game. Almost threw it away, but he did get the save. All right, Brad's up 2-1. Final multiple choice.
Final multiple choice. I'm mathematically eliminated anyway.
You could get the tie.
Okay.
This could be like MLS. Pete Alonso. A, the Mets. B, the White Sox. C, Kansas City. Or D, Baltimore.
Alonso. What was A and B? I'm sorry.
B is the White Sox. A is the Mets.
Mets.
There you go. It feels weird they're looking at me. I feel like I'm giving
That's the only one I've known so far.
Yeah, I remember him losing the home run. He was terrible in the Derby.
I feel like I need the poker glasses when I have these games
my
now. I can't
God.
stare people in the eyes.
I should put my shades on.
All right, so we have a tiebreaker here. So if you know the answer, raise your hand, and we'll break the tie one way or another.
Is it
If
a
not,
hockey question?
no, we're not having the spelling bee for me. All right, here's a tiebreaker. Name the Red Sox that were named to the MLB All-Star Game
This year?
this year.
Hoke, Houck, sorry.
We'll give it to you.
Of course, the center fielder. Remember his last name.
Name the players.
It was the MVP. It was the MVP.
All right. Well, I said his name 10 minutes ago.
I know. I'm starving. I can't see.
The name's not even on there, so you can look all you want
Let
now.
me think who was the third one. What's going to kick me in the butt? Hold on. Devers. Rafael Devers.
There you go. All right. So Dom actually won a game for once.
Yeah, once. Thank God it wasn't
You
spelled.
only said 2 of the 3.
Yeah, I didn't say.
Yeah,
the
you
other
beat
one.
me.
Now ask me. Now ask
No,
me.
yeah,
I know
ask him.
Devers. I did. All right.
All right.
Duran.
Duran. There you go.
Duran.
Damn.
He does have a haircut like he's from the '80s too.
Who Duran?
Duran.
Oh,
He has a glass bat now.
He has it. Wow.
So
He
we
has a
think
fancy suit too.
that was a nice suit.
So
Nice little something inside.
Yeah.
refresh my memory. Henderson was the guy who was in the home run derby for Baltimore, right? Was it Henderson?
Kind of Henderson, yes.
He had a Scooby-Doo bat. I'm like, dude, you ain't winning that. You ain't winning a home run derby.
Good impression of Scooby-Doo.
He did. He did a good job.
All right, so we thank you for watching this episode of On the Sidelines. We'll see you coming up in a couple weeks.